just finished watching Wolf Children, Ame and Yuki. And that was great. This film was great. No. Fantastic. Exemplary. Spectacular. This film, what to say about this film? Oh my god. I don't know where to start. This is unscripted, by the way, so... The main gist of the film is that you have this woman named Hana who falls in love with a half-human, half-wolf hybrid named Okami. And of course, they date and, they have sex until one day, Hana gets pregnant with Yuki. And then a year after that, she gets pregnant with Ame. Sister and brother respectively, and of course, they are also half-human, half-wolf hybrids. And they have to keep their true selves a secret, and to make things worse, let's just say that a certain loved one dies. Eventually, Hana realizes that raising them in a city isn't exactly fitting for them, and thus they move over to the countryside where there's grass and all these fields and mountains, and get a place far away from everyone else where Ame and Yuki can just be themselves. And as the film goes on, we see how Ame and Yuki grow up, how they develop, how, all this stuff goes on with them, and how they kind of go on this sort of journey of self-discovery. How they change, how things change, how they go and just figure out just who they want to be, who they are. And I have to say, this is just the main gist, folks. This film was a moment after moment after moment of the lives of these characters, and just seeing the plot unravel like this, seeing the plot develop, seeing these characters develop, seeing the interactions between said characters, and etc, 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 is something that sparked numerous emotional reactions. Now, if you couldn't tell before from what I just said, this film's main themes are self-identity and ultimately maturity. How Ame and Yuki were in the beginning of the film is not the same as they are in the end. How Yuki acts really wild in the beginning, but turns around and decides to live like a human as things go on. To how Ame didn't really like being a half-wolf in the beginning, only to turn around and accept just who he really is. How these two forge their own paths and walk down that road, and then you have Hana, who pretty much serves as the third party, the character that we as the audience are supposed to project ourselves onto. And through her, you feel it. You feel this story. You feel the lives of her and her trying to raise these kids, raising hybrids that aren't entirely like us. And you get it. You really do. You kind of feel what she feels, and what you feel, just these rush of emotions as each moment goes by, as each event goes by, as each sequence, as each frame of animation goes by. You feel it all. And that's what watching this film kind of feels like. It's not so much a tale about a woman who has to raise these hybrids, but that it's a biography about a woman who raises these hybrids. And that these changes to these two characters really gets to you. This is not a story. This is a life. A fully fleshed out life. And then you have these other characters that come in, and how they interact with our main cast, how they affect things in more ways than one. It's not every day where you have a film where a fox, a plain old fox, serves as an important supporting character to one of the main characters. And all these elements are stitched together with focus and chemistry. If you ask me, there's not a single bad character in this movie. Though my favorite scenes are when Hana interacts with Ame and Yuki. The interactions between them just feel really natural, believable, emotional. It's just done so well. How caring and optimistic she can be despite the circumstances. Especially if you consider that this film isn't entirely super duper happy. So thus the story is an enriching one, what with emotions, development, chemistry, and other things that give it all this substance. Happiness, ambiguity, melancholy, sadness, shock, awe, and even worry. And I have to tell you this, folks, it's rare when I feel worried while I'm watching, reading, or playing anything. You have to try your damnedest to make me feel worried when I'm watching a movie, let alone an anime movie. But alas, this film did it. Right there, Mamoru Hosoda nailed it. Do you know what he also nailed again? The presentation. And my god, this film is absolutely beautiful from a visual and audio standpoint. Absolutely beautiful. Breathtakingly beautiful. My god. From a design standpoint, this film is incredible. There's so much detail, so much scale, just so much attention to detail. There is just so much this film hits out of the park. How the characters move, how the environment moves, how the CG looks. Hell, I would even go as far as to say that the off-modeling looks great. This is some of the most eye-catching off-modeling you could ever see. This is, to me, without a doubt, that this is Mamoru Hosoda's best looking film to date. And that's saying a lot because this man is associated with some of the best looking anime films I've ever seen. Excellent design work, fluid animation, what next? Great voice acting? Holy shit, great voice acting! I normally judge Japanese dubs with half conviction, mainly because I don't speak the language myself. Thus, I have to rely on other factors like, what is the scene? How do the characters sound? Does it connect with me? Does it fit with the scene itself? Does it fit with the dialogue, etc, etc, etc? I have to judge it by these other factors because of that. And it's kind of rare where I can judge this aspect with full conviction, whether it would be really good or really bad. And I'm going to say it here now with full conviction that this voice acting is incredible. And it's thanks to these excellent performances that not only give these characters life, but also fuel the story's more emotional aspects. As far as I can personally tell, there was not a single phoned-in performance. Oh, and this soundtrack, my god, it fits, it mixes, it fuels some of these incredibly well put together scenes, and oh my god, where the fuck can I get this soundtrack? I want to find this soundtrack. In fact, I'm going to find this soundtrack after I'm done recording this. The soundtrack is amazing and succeeds at charging the film with additional emotion and great energy, especially within the film's more upbeat and heartwarming sequences. From the plot and characters to the presentation, Mamoru Hosoda did it again. I loved The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. I loved Summer Wars, and you know what? I love this movie. Hell, this is his best movie. You know, up until this point, my favorite anime film, if not one of my favorite films in general, was Spirited Away. I loved Spirited Away. I will always love Spirited Away. But Wolf Children, Ame, and Yuki overtook it for me. It is now my favorite anime film. It is now one of my favorite films of all time. I will never forget this film. Thus, I give Wolf Children, Ame, and Yuki a 5 out of 5.